Yo, what's going on, everyone? Rubu back. I'm back from vacation. I'm going to be covering the Season 3 patch note changes. Since they are super long, I'm not going to be looking to cover everything. I mostly want to be focusing on general balance changes that affect front lines and front lines themselves. So I'll be going over my thoughts on the item stores, since that does, affect front lines. The record changes, the COD changes, the price reductions on certain cards. So we'll be looking at that, and then we'll be looking at all the frontline changes. I'll give you my thoughts on all the tanks, the talents, theorycraft a few of their builds that I think will be good, and yeah. Be prepared though. I don't have a script or anything ready. I pretty much got home last night and just woke up and started recording this. So let's go ahead and get into the video. It's going to be a little bit rambly, but it should be fine. All right, starting credits, 400 to 450. That's not really that much, but it does matter when all the cards, or all item cards, excuse me, got pretty much price reductions. Illuminate pretty much got nerfed. No real buff to it. Its price didn't get increased. Resilience is actually a big one. Last meta, pretty much every tank was going COT 2 and then going Resilience 2 right away. I don't think most tanks didn't go Resilience 3 unless we were playing against Atlas or something like that. Something where Resilience really matters, but production reduced to 20 to 40 60, which is pretty huge, and it also got its price reduced, so it's a bit cheaper, but it also does a lot less. At max rank, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to get Resilience at level 3 every game, or you probably just won't go it, because 60% is pretty much Resil 2. That's what every tank was pretty much going. It negated most of the stuns and CC that was in the game. The only issue is that now you have to buy 3 tiers of it. This is actually going to affect a lot of the front lines, since a majority of them do have some kind of CC. Anara, for example, her ult is going to be a lot better early on, and it's going to fall off. It's not going to fall off as hard later on. Master Riding, reduced price, 300, 600, 900, 200, 400, 600. This is actually pretty crazy, considering that other cards like Wrecker and Cauterize got their price nerfed. So now that 450 credits actually does mean something, because you can go Master Riding and Caught. Master Riding was a card that a lot of tanks went, considering it just let you get out of the gate faster. You can take positioning, which you wanted to do as a tank. You could get in faster. You could flank with your mount if you hide on it. So there's a lot of options that Master Riding give you, and you can now start it if you opt to go like Cauterize and Master Riding. So I could potentially see this being pretty strong for tanks. Morale boost, reduced ultimate charge increased from 15, 30, 45 to 10, 20, 30, and the price got reduced as well. This makes morale boost a lot weaker. I don't know if I'm ever going to go this card now, unless like there's an ult that really good and you want to charge a lot faster, but even going morale 1 for one of your slots is just 10% doesn't seem that great. Even though it's like 50 credits cheaper at 30% at max rank, is just not that great. But we'll have to play around with morale boost, see how it feels. Overall, I don't think this matters too much. Most of the tanks weren't going morale anyways. I think the most prevalent morale boost tank was Khan, because his ult was really good. It charged really fast, so getting morale boost really helped. But we'll have to see. I don't think this is going to be too great. I think it's overall nerf. Doesn't really seem amazing anymore, or even good as like a 1-pointer, which most tanks did. They just got at like 1 point. Like sometimes on Ashe, if I wanted to get my ult faster for the mid, I would just go 1 point morale. Same thing with Khan, like I said. Moving on, Nimble, reduced movement speed to 7, 14, 21%, and the price got reduced really cheap now. 150, 300, 450. Nimble 3, I don't know, if your character needs movement speed, that doesn't seem that bad. I don't see myself getting this on tanks. I feel like you need to get other cards, but we'll have to see now, because I don't know, Rejuve got nerfed as well in this patch. Chronos, reduced price 400, 800, 1200, 300, 600, 900. No actual nerf or buff to it, but other than the price, stays the same, 10%, 20%, 30% at the 3 respective ranks. This could be good. A lot of the tanks have long CDs, like Atlas is one. It all depends. Like I have to keep reading all these changes and see if you're actually going to be picking it up. But it doesn't seem bad. It seems better than the morale boost. Bulldozer actually got nerfed really hard. Reduced damage increase 50, 100, 150 to 20, 40, 60. This makes characters like Anara and Barrack actually a lot better. Nara's gonna have pretty much way more staying power. No one's really ever gonna be able to break her wall unless you like hard focus it as a team, or you buy Bulldozer 3. Same thing with Barrack's turrets. I think they got a buff as well, so it's gonna be a lot harder to kill them, especially when Bulldozers are getting nerfed. So I could see more deployables being used, and this also kind of helps Luna. That's something to take note. And it does kind of affect point tanks and tanks because you know you get to put the dog on cat. The point tank gets to go zone or do other stuff. You also sometimes have to kill the dog as a tank. So Wrecker, reduced shield damage increased from 75 to 225 to 20, 40, 60. This is actually a huge nerf to Wrecker, which is crazy, but it is kind of justified considering all the shields will be getting nerfed, and we'll look over that a little bit later. And the reduced price as well, so that means you can go Wrecker, but you can't go Wrecker and Caught. You can go Wrecker Mass Riding, you can go Wrecker, let's see what else. Nimble you can go, I don't know if you're really going to do that. I think probably the best to go Resilience, Cauterize Resilience Wrecker as a tank. Maybe Mass Riding if you want that positioning advantage, like I was saying. Rejuvenate, or actually I skipped Cauterize, my bad. Reduce healing reduction 30, 60, 90 to 25, 50, 75. Price reduction as well. Increase duration to 2 seconds. This is pretty massive. That extra second is actually going to mean a lot. That means you're going to have to start looking to get out of caught a little bit sooner. If you put your shield up to uncauterize yourself, it's going to take that extra second for you to get uncauted. This does affect tanks because now you need to readjust your timings on when you need to get uncauted so your healer can heal you. Overall, the healing reduction's not the biggest change. COD 3 is still, I would still say, I think you're probably going to want to rush COD 3. Either rush COD 3 or most of your team goes COD 2 and you guys have to like look to focus the same target. But I still think COD 3 is probably going to be pretty good. Wrecker, 20% for tier 1, a lot weaker than the first tier. But this is all kind of hard to like gauge because all the shield changes as well. But we'll keep an eye on things on how this affects it. Just to put it into perspective, for the Wrecker changes, if Leon has Wrecker 3 and she shoots the Fern Shield, which has 5k HP, it'll take 7.5 shots for her to kill it. So you know it is a little bit of a reduction. All the shields got nerfed, so we'll kind of have to like gauge that and see how it is. Rejuvenate, reduced healing increased to 5, 10, 15%, and a price nerf as well. So you can go Cauterize, Rejuve, you can go, I think that's it. I think that's a combination you can go. Yeah, I don't think it's terrible, but you know, Rejuve 3 definitely not what it used to be. Even getting a Rejuve 2, which was a lot, you know, cheap, or it was pretty cheap. It wasn't that hard to invest into. It was only 600 credits. But I don't know. Rejuve 2 seems like it's a good middle ground. It is, you know, only Rejuve 1 from the last patch, but it's still a good card, especially with Cauterize having a higher uptime. You're gonna want that extra 10% to get off you, especially if you have, if like the other team is caught 2s and you have, you know, Rejuve 2, you're gonna pretty much be only taking 40% caught, which is only 10% more than the last caught one. So not bad. I think this is actually decent. It's a decent change. I think it works pretty well with the caught nerf. 15% makes this 60%, so not bad. I think it has its uses, and you might be buying it considering how cheap it is now. Veteran increased healing from 4, 8, 12%, 5, 10, 15. That's nuts. I'm just kidding. Veterans, it got a lot cheaper though, so who knows? Maybe if you get a bad healer in a game, like one of my previous videos, Veteran might be a good buy. But since the actual, you know, passive, I guess the what Veteran actually does didn't get changed, I don't think it's still gonna be. It's not gonna be that great. If it like reduced the amount of time it took to get out of combat, it would I think it'd be a lot better. But overall, just a healing buff's not really gonna do it for Veteran. All right, front lines. We're gonna be looking at just going down to the list. Ashe first, Battering Ram reduced damage reduction 90 to 75%. That's not terrible. It's definitely a hit to her survivability. Like you're not gonna be able to just dash out at 500 HP and expect to live. You're probably gonna have to start timing your dashes a little sooner. Fortress Breaker, reduced shield health increase 3,000 to 2,000. That's not bad. You still get the giant shield. It's gonna be a total of 5,500 HP, which is 500 less than her normal Siege Shield from last patch. Not bad. I could potentially see that card being strong, especially with the changes to Ashe. Slugshot now increases your burst cannon's damage 360 to 400. I'm a little confused about this. Does that mean Slugshot still increases your base range? If it increases your base range and makes your damage 400, I could see that being maybe one of Ashe's best talents. It gives her range back and it lets her deal the damage from last patch. I'm not entirely sure. I think I need a little bit more clarity on this. I hope it does, because I feel like if Slugshot only gives your burst cannon like extra 40 damage, it's not going to be that great of a talent. But looking at these 3 talents, I still think Battering Ram is pretty good. Depending on the shield changes, I think Fortress Breaker can be good too. You probably have to play a little slower. You probably have to buddy up with the damage and just shield for them. That's kind of what I was thinking for Ashe, especially with these changes. Burst Cannon, damage reduced. That hurts a lot, actually. It's even though it's only 40 damage, like, you weren't always, doing 400. Like, if you were poking around a corner, you were hitting for like 370, you were hitting for like 350, 340. So now that you get that 40 reduced, it's gonna hit you a little harder. You're gonna do a lot less damage, especially with Caught being nerfed as well. You need, like, that was one thing that Ashe needed. Ashe needed good Cauterize and good Resilience. Once she had like Caught 2, Caught 3, and Resilience 2, she was a much better tank. She was easier at killing targets. But until then, she struggled to kill stuff on her own, just because she doesn't have that highest damage output. Siege Shield, reduced health by 1500 to 3500. That's still pretty good. I think it's decent. It's not the biggest nerf to shield HPs. Shoulder Bash, reduced cooldown to 15 to 14 seconds. While this does look like a buff, it's actually a nerf because the card changes. Watchtower, reduced shield health. It's overall just not that big of a change. It's just shield health. You might run this. I don't know. I think there's still better cards than the extra shield health. Trebuchet, extra ammo regeneration. That's just a quality of life change, good buff. Battlement, increased duration. This is the duration for Siege Shield, I think, which can be good if your shields, like, if next patch, if your shields are lasting a long time because people aren't buying Wrecker or not investing fully into Wrecker, I could see this being pretty good for like a 1 or 2 pointer. Gatecrasher, which was the big card for Ashe. Everyone ran this at 5 points because of the insane value. It would give you 6 seconds off your CD at max rank. So now this goes to 0.8, a total of 4 seconds. So the buff, or the nerf to Shoulder Bash, it's pretty much 1 second difference. Before it was 9 seconds with 5 points in Gatecrasher. Now it would be 10 seconds with 5 points in Gatecrasher. Not the biggest change. It's still nerf, but not overall. It's not terrible. Thrive. This is pretty interesting. 200 for each one. So then if you have 5 points in it, you get 1000 health if you hit someone with your Shoulder Bash. Granted, you might be caught, so this is probably not going to be that effective. I'll probably play around with it, just see how it is. I think it could be decent if you're uncaught every single time you hit someone with your Shoulder Bash. Brawl, increased healing 80-80 to 120-120. Brawl is pretty interesting because it's a heal over time, and it also, you can hit multiple people with it, and you can heal off, like, let's say turrets, Ying clones, you can heal off stuff like that. So this might be an interesting card to try on Ashe. Castle Forge, Connect Burst, increased cooldown reduction 0.5, 0.6. So what this is telling me, what I'm thinking right now is that Resilience got nerfed, Ashe's damage got nerfed, her Battering Ram got nerfed. So what this is telling me is that you probably might want to invest more cards into her right click. Her right click cooldown reduction got nerfed. You can put 5 points in the knockback card on your right click, and you could probably send people flying, especially with Resilience not being as strong. You can also get some good healing off of it, so that's probably a build I'm going to try. It sounds kind of cheesy, but it might be, Ashe's best build, depending on how she feels. Overall, I think Ashe got pretty nerfed. Her ult's still good. Her ult's going to get better because of the Resilience change. That doesn't change. Or that, I mean, it does change. It makes her better. But overall, I think Battering Ram got hit pretty hard. CDR reduction, damage reduction, her shield got nerfed, her base damage got nerfed, so I'm probably going to be playing around with Slugshot a little more, just because the extra damage and the range can help her, and then I'll also be using Percussion 5, stuff like that. I think that could be a fun build, but we got to try out a lot of things once PTS comes out. Once PTS comes out, I am straight grinding a bunch of content videos. I'm going to be trying out different builds, then get my thoughts on them. Hopefully I can get like a gauge on what's good and what's not good. Next up, Atlas. Chrono Cannon, reduced damage per shot 60 to 50. If you guys weren't aware, Chrono Cannon does shoot 15 pellets, so before 60 would equate to 900 damage. 50 is now going to equate to 750. That's a pretty big nerf. That's pretty insane. I think that's the majority of his damage. He's going to do a lot less now from range. It's probably going to be better to just tap left click and just get more damage off since you do fire faster. Second chance, reduced time back sent from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. That hurts a little bit. That's 1 second. You can kind of negate this if you go that one card, the one card that gives you, I think it's called Continuum Shift. It gives you extra time on your rewind, but I think you have to put 3 points into it to get 1.2 seconds back. So this is a nerf. Atlas did get nerfed last patch with Cripple and the, what was the other change to him? Can't remember. I'm drawing a blank here. Oh well. Can't remember the other change, but we'll just move on. Infinity Edging, increased duration of 1 to 2 seconds. This is the extra, you get pretty much infinite ammo whenever your shield's up. This isn't bad. I don't know how good it'll be if you'll have points to run it. Like I said, you might have to put more points into Continuum Shift to get that to make your second chance a little better. Lessons of the Past. This is actually not a Stasis Field card. I was actually really confused when reading this. I was like, his shield doesn't have any health. Why are you gonna try and increase this? This is the card where you lob an enemy, you get health back for each enemy lobbed. So now this is gonna be 100 per level, so you can put this at 5 points, and if you run Deja Vu, you could get like 1,000 shield if you hit 2 people. Don't know how great it will be, but it is something I'm gonna play around with. Usually those cards, aren't that great, but with the record changes, who knows? If you hit 2 people and you get 1,000 shielding, it might be nuts. Phantom Pain. This is the card that you guys were trying to tell me to run in my Atlas video. I was actually so confused when you guys were posting and you were like, "Why aren't you running Phantom Pain? Isn't Phantom Pain good?" And I was just like, "Isn't Phantom Pain the lifesteal?" And then I looked at it and I was like, "Holy crap, that seems pretty good, but it's bugged." So I think it was just like I said, it was a bug. The text was already updated. So now hitting an enemy with setback reduces the cooldown of Stasis Field by 1 second up to 5 seconds. I could see this being very, very good with Big Wall, with Deja Vu. I'm probably going to run this card at 5 points on both those dicks and try out a build. I think if you run Deja Vu, you pretty much get 5 seconds off, and then that's like 9 second CD if you hit it as soon as you're up. So it's a 9 second downtime. That's pretty good, I think. I think especially with Big Wall, that's 5 seconds off. That's pretty huge. Like getting that giant wall back up again can be very strong. I think this is going to be a good card for Atlas players to use, and I'll probably be doing some kind of build with it as soon as PTS comes up. Ravage of Time. This is a pretty irrelevant card. I don't think it's 10% per ult charge. His ult's not the greatest, so I think this still stays a pretty bad card. Varric. Tinkering. This is actually a huge nerf. Reduced damage per shot, 560 to 480. This makes Tinkering a lot weaker. I don't know if you're going to run it anymore just because of all the other card changes. The other card changes seem like it's making Architectonics really, really good. Fortify. Reduced shield health, increase 3,000 to 2,000. I still think Fortify actually might have some value here with the record nerfs. Barricade did get reduced to 3,000, so running Fortify pretty much gives you, I think, the extra CDR on your shield. And it also gives you the base health of your old shield, which is really nice. So I might try a Fortify build. I don't really know. I had to go back and look at the other shield CDR cards, but it might be decent. But I do think Architectonics is going to be really, really strong. Rocket Boots. Increased movement speed while Rocket Boots is active by 10%. I think this is pretty much just giving him double time 1. I don't know if that's how it works, but I'd be very interested to see how this affects him. I think it'll just be a nice kind of quality of life change, make his Rocket Boots feel a little smoother. But next, turrets. Increased health 600 to 1,000. That's pretty insane considering you usually had to run like a few points in Forged Ally to make his turrets better. Reduce base deploy time. I think that's just a nice change. It'll make his turrets a little more relevant early in the game. You don't really I think they're going to be used more for damage and like body blocking, blocking doorways, taking shots for you more than, just doing a healing station, which last meta was really, really strong. You would just hide your turrets in corners. I wouldn't really run that much Forged Alloy just because I like movement speed on my boots. So I could see them being less, just healing station kind of setups, more turret usage. They'll probably do a little bit more damage too, since they have a better lifetime or more health, excuse me, and reduced deploy time. Dome Shield, reduced shield health to 20,000 to 1,000 or 10,000. Don't think that's big of a deal. It is a nerf, but nobody's gonna break that anyways. I think a lot of people have to shoot with the record 3 to still break it. So I think that's just it's going from invincible to at least you can kill it, which is nice. Heal deploy. Hits with your turrets heal you for 60. Basically, if you have this at 5 points, you can heal for 300 if your turrets hit anything. I could see that being really good for Architectonics. I don't know about you guys, but I really want to try a turret build. Turret build sounds really, really fun. I do think field deploy has some merit to it, some value, even as a 1-pointer, 2-pointer. You have 2 turrets up and they're both firing and pelting a tank on point. You're going to be healed for a lot. And this also helps because you don't even have to you don't have to do anything. You could be hiding and you could just randomly get healed for 300 if you're uncaughted. Reduced turret health 175, 150. This is not bad at all. It is kind of a small nerf, at max rank. Instead of being 750, it's going to be, how much is it going to be? I can't do math right now. 750 total. So it's not bad. Actually, this is 750 total. This is a little more. Still not terrible considering he got a base boost of 400. Healing Station, reduce health per second, 45, 45, 35, 35. It is a little bit of a nerf. I still think you can run it. It's still pretty strong. I just don't know how many points. I don't know if you're going to put 5 points into it like you used to. It does total out to 175 healing per second. That's not terrible. That's like old Healing Station when you could only put 4 points into it. It was at 180. So 175, not bad. Like I said, I don't think you're going to be wanting to put 5 points in Healing Station anymore, though, because, you know, cards like Field Deploy, Forged Ally, which could be decent with turret builds, and a few other cards down here that you're going to want to be running. Bowling Ball, reduce shield health 300, 300 to 150. This is a pretty huge nerf, the Bowling Ball, I think, even with the record changes. So to put it in perspective, if you have, like, let's say you're casting and you have Wrecker 1, and you put 5 points in a new Bowling Ball, that's a 750 shield. Now, Cassie has Wrecker 1 and you boots, she's one-shotting that shield pretty much every time, with or without Wrecker. Like, without Wrecker, obviously there's going to be, like, a little bit of extra damage, or extra shielding, but still gets deleted in one shot. So, Bowling Ball, don't know if you're going to run that at 5 points either. It did get nerfed pretty hard. We'll have to see, though, because, you know, it still synergizes really well with Failsafe. It still makes Barrack tankier, and once again, Wrecker changes. We'll have to see how that goes, you know. But I do think Cassie and other damages being able to pretty much one-shot it, it's not going to be as good. Double Time. Increase the movement speed of rocket suit by 10%. So they got rid of this card, which makes sense why they added the extra base movement speed to it. Heals you for 80 per 80 for 4 seconds after you activate rocket boots. Wait, that's kind of insane. I actually didn't, when I was reading over the notes, so I was on vacation, so I was like pretty much when the patch notes came out, I was just reading them on my phone. So that's like the only time I pretty much like looked at these before, you know, doing this video. That's pretty nuts. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's 400 health per second for 4 seconds. That's 1600 HP after you activate your boots. And if you have failsafe, you get 2 of these. So now instead of going Bowling Ball, you pretty much just go double time. You just get extra healing. You could go both too if you really want to, and just have the shield mitigate some damage while you heal. But I could see this being really strong. This is definitely a card I want to run in my decks. I want to try this out like as soon as I get the game. This seems really, really good. Really, really strong. Especially with Cop being nerfed. Like 75% at max rank. Like, early on, this is going to get a lot of value. I think Barrack's going to be a lot tankier. Like, he did lose his tankiness because of Bowling Ball, but I don't know, dude. Like, extra healing when you use boots, that's crazy. I think that's really, really good. I think this is a really cool card. I'm definitely going to want to try it out and run it in my builds. Fuel efficiency. Increased duration to 0.15 to 0.3. I think this is pretty good. I think you can run this card at a higher rank now, since this does have more value. Like, at max rank, this 0.15, like, that was barely anything. You had to run this at pretty much 5 points to, like, barely feel it. So I think this is a quality of life change. It makes the card a little better, especially with, you know, losing double times movement speed. I think you'll start running this card more if you want to go for a boots build, if you want to have a longer dash. Definitely try this out. I think it could be good. Bunker. Reduce shield health increase. This is pretty much the same thing as the Ash Shield, 250 to 200. I could see this. I don't know. It's an extra 1000 HP on your shield, so I guess Barracks is at 2000 now, I believe. No, 3000. So then you can make it a 4000. So that's not bad. I don't know if you'd want to do that though. 5 points. Like I said, there's a lot of other cards that are really good. Accelerated field, reduce movement speed percentage 10% to 6%. I think that makes this card actually a lot worse. If it still was 10%, I'd probably still look to try and run it, but I don't know. Nobody really wanted to run accelerated field anyways. Barrack's kind of a point tank. He uses his shield for himself a lot. So the only real person that would want move speed is Barrack himself, unless he was pairing up with someone that's like an off tank. But you still didn't really want to step past, like, go through your shield and run through it. You usually wanted to hide behind it and stay on cap. So not that great of a card, but did get a nerf. It kind of makes sense. They were nerfing the move speed cards on Atlas too. They probably didn't want to deal with that on Barrack as well. Old Man Scrap. When a turret is destroyed, reduce your active cooldowns by 10% up to 50% total. I could see that being pretty strong. I think you could do a pretty nuts Architectonics build, especially if you have 2 turrets up and one of them gets broken. You're probably going to get one of your turrets back instantly. You could probably run this at 3 to 5 points if you want to. I think 5 points is probably overkill, but 3 points is like a good in between, especially if you don't want to overcommit your deck into it. I think this is a really cool change and something that makes Architectonics a lot better. So Barrick, pretty interesting changes. I definitely think he's going to go to an Architectonics build over Tinkering. We'll have to see though. This did hit him pretty hard, but to be fair, a lot of the tanks did get damage nerfs. But you know, look at the Ash damage nerf compared to this one. This one's pretty marginal, 80 damage. So we'll have to see how that feels. But I do think, like when I look at Barrick and when I read these notes, the first thing that comes to my head is that I want to make an Architectonics build like immediately. So I could see myself running Field Deploy, Forged Alloy, Double Time, Failsafe. Those are all good cards. Probably somehow get old One Man Scrap in there. But pretty interesting changes. I really like them. I like the way they're ticking Barrick. I think he's going to be more turret focused. Even if you run Tinkering still think you're going to have to play around your turrets more and look to get value out of those. Fernando, I was actually really excited for these changes. I was hyped when I was reading these. Scorch now deals 30% more damage to the first target. This will put Scorch back up to its previous damage at 585 when you hit the first target. However, reduce damage increase on targets that are hit after it from 45% to 20%. I think that's fair. Like I said, Fern's big issue before was his fireball literally did no damage. It did nothing after they nerfed it. So giving him that extra damage on the first fireball and less on people hit behind that person, I think it's perfectly fine. It's gonna suck if you hit multiple people and you don't get that juicy fireball, but 30% to the first person, that's the main, that's a huge buff for Fern. I think it gives him his damage output back, and I think he'll be in a better spot. Abilities: Flame Lance, reduce self-slow by 15%. I think that's a nice change to make him a little more mobile. If you run movement speed cards, I was actually testing this earlier before he actually got changed, but if I was running Running Start 5, which is 50% move speed after dashing, and you held down left click, you could still stay caught up to people. So I think you can run Running Start or any kind of movement speed card, and then this reduced self slow will kind of help him out. It'll help him keep mobile and stay up with targets, and that pretty much gives him a damage boost, considering you're going to be able to catch up to targets faster, you're going to be able to stick with them, and keep on outputting that Flame Lance damage. Fireball, increase cooldown to 6 seconds to 7 seconds. That's reasonable considering his Fireball is going to be doing more damage. I think Incinerate also got nerfed, so we'll have to see how that plays out, but not bad. 1 second CD, it's understandable. Shield health reduced to 8,000 to 5,000, like I said. That makes sense considering the record changes, but I do believe his shield's still going to be strong. He's still going to have an 8 second CD if you run 5 points in Rampart, I think is what it's called. It's shield CD card, but I think this is still good. I think you're going to want to be running as much shield CD as possible, because you're going to want to put your shield up, dash in, put it down, and if you get another shield off, I think it's still really good. 5,000 is the highest value we've seen so far out of all the tanks. Koa's shield and Khan's shield also got nerfed harder than this. So I think Fern's shield is actually pretty strong. I think it's the best shield in the game. Even though you can't shoot, it's still the highest health pool. Cards: Pyre, increase ammo gain 10 to 15. That's a nice change. I don't know if you're going to be running it. You don't really have ammo issues with Fern. I think you can play around it. You can just tap. You can do other things to play around the ammo gauge. Launch, increase distance to 15%. I think this is pretty good. When I was looking at this, I was like, I want to do a launch build. Especially since the movement speed cards aren't the best on him. Like Running Start was good, but you only got it whenever you had your dash up. So I think you can run launch, put 2-3 points into it, and see how far you go. I think you're gonna go a lot farther, which is nice. It'll be cool to run that, especially if you can just get on a backline, use the new fireball damage, and dish out a decent amount. You might be able to do flank Nando again. Looks that kill, hitting a fireball reduces cooldown of charge by 0.6 seconds. So a total of 3 seconds if you hit a fireball. I have no clue how this is going to work in game. If you hit 2 people, is it going to reduce it by 6 seconds? I need that kind of, I want to test it out in PTS, but I think if it does do that, I want to be running this card at 3 to 5 points. I want to be mobile. I want to be able to have my dash up as much as possible so I can stay on targets. I can, close the distance on them. So I think that's a interesting change. I think that'll help him out. Yeah, that gives him another decent card that he can run. Incinerate, reduce cooldown reduction from 6 seconds or 0.6 seconds to 4 seconds, 0.4 seconds. I don't know why I'm saying 4 seconds. So that could be a total of 2 seconds off, which makes his fireball a 5-second CD. Not bad. I think you're going to be wanting to run that if you do go for a Scorch build. Hot Pursuit, reduce internal cooldown 10 seconds to 6 seconds. That's pretty good. That gives him a little bit more mobility back. I might run it. I'm not really sure. I think if you're going to run Hot Pursuit, you got to give up some looks that kill and launch. I think you got to choose between the two. You might be able to mix them both, but I do think that's going to cost a lot of points, especially if you're going to run 5 points in the shield CD card. So he's got some interesting cards. Dire Need. I don't know how good this is gonna be. This card was always pretty mediocre, even at 5%. But we'll see. Maybe 8% is enough to make it value. I kind of have to test that in the training range and see how it feels. But overall, just a nice way to buff that card because it was pretty useless before. But yeah, I'm really excited for Fern. He seems like he got a lot of fun cards. You could do a pretty cheeky build with Launch or Hot Pursuit. So I'm really interested to test that out in PTS once it comes up. Inara, Talents, Tremors. Your impasse is now 2 charges, but you cannot destroy him. Impasse's cooldown is reduced to 12 seconds. This could be a fun little cheesy build with two walls. I don't know how good it's going to be considering Katara's got a huge nerf, and Inara's, Mother's Grace did not get any changes at all. Impasse did get its health reduced by 8,500 to 5,000, so that's a nice little change considering Bulldozer got a hard nerf. But I do think that the wall is overall still tankier than Bulldozer's going to be able to deal with it. Like, I think Bulldozer 3 and its health before is a lot easier to break than now. Plateau, activate Impasse grants a 75 shield. I mean, if you run Tremors, I guess this is pretty good, but if not, I don't think this is going to be that great. I don't know, you could, I guess if you're a Nara and you go Tremors and you could force out Record Buys because you have a shield and, healing from your Earthen Guard. Could be a fun little build, but overall, I don't think it's going to be that great. I think Inara, the main card you're going to be want to going is Mother's Grace 100%. Just the cotton nerfs, and she didn't get any like nerf on her rejuve and her kit. So I think Inara is going to be really strong. Lodestone increase ammo gain 1 to 2. That's not bad. I might actually run that over Insurmountable or Sheer. But overall, Nara, I think you're going to be going Mother's Grace. I think she's going to be really strong since she didn't really get any changes to that. Rip Con mains, dude. They got they got gutted. Storm of Bullets no longer provides 10 ammo. Oof, that hurts a little bit. Heavy Repeater reduced damage 200 to 180. Okay, that hurts. That hurts. Just remember that Storm of Bullets does reduce the damage on Heavy Repeater, so this is going to go down even more. To put it in perspective, when you use Storm of Bullets last patch and you pretty much did 150 damage per shot. If you had Generous Pocket, you do 175. So this is going to hurt a little bit. You're going to be doing less damage. I don't know the exact number on it. I haven't really calculated the math. I probably should have done that before this video, but I'm just going right into it. I want to get this video out to you guys as soon as possible. Next, Battle Shout. Reduce cooldown to 15 seconds to 14 seconds. Not bad. Once again, it's going to be like that battering up thing where you're going to see the nerf in cooldown reduction. Yep, 1 second to 0.6 seconds. So this is a total of 3 seconds off. So 11 second CD, that's 1 more second than it was before when you ran Never Surrender 5. So it's a little bit of a nerf to Battle Shout. I think it's fine. His Battle Shout was his strongest ability by far. It was always up, give you 1,000 HP. It was a nuts iframe. Makes sense. Reduced shield health, 6 out of 3,000. That's a pretty big nerf. I think it's justified though with the record changes. It also charges pretty fast whenever you put it down. You can put it up whenever you want. I think this is a good change for shield. Maximum ammo, excessive force. You're going to have to run this if you want to make a Storm of Bullets build. Never Surrender, I think, like I said, you're probably still going to run this at 5 points. You want to have your Battle Shout up as much as possible, but it might depending on his new playstyle. Hold the Line, increased heal, 60 to 80. So that means at max rank, you can get extra 400 health on your Battle Shout. I think this would be pretty good if the Shout CD didn't get nerfed like 2 minutes, or like by 1 second. Could have been better last patch, but we'll have to see. We'll have to play around with this. I don't think it's going to be that great considering you can get cotted. You would have to always make sure that you're out of cot to get that full value out of it. Shield Wall, just quality of life change. You go from percentage to just base health increase. That's good considering 2% would have been a lot worse this patch than it was last patch. Shield recharge rate got increased to 6%, so 30% total at max rank. I think this could be pretty good, especially if you look for Leon's shield build. This is something that I actually wanted to try when I was looking over the con changes. I was just crying about how Storm of Bullets got nerfed really hard, and I was thinking about con. You can go Vortex Grip considering Resilience got nerfed. You can also go Leon's Shield with the record changes. So I think with Ready for War and how Storm of Bullets got nerfed, Leon's Shield might actually be a pretty good card now. I think it's not going to be useless. I think you could go for a fun build, Ready for War. 5 points, put your shield up, you'll be a lot tankier. You won't do as much damage, clearly, because the base damage nerf, but it's something to think about. Same thing with Vortex Grip, not as much resilience. You might be able to run it, you might be able to stun people more. I think that's pretty good. I think Con's probably moving in the right direction. Storm of Bullets was really, really good before. Not many people really noticed this, but it was actually bugged. Stormy Bolts was actually making you shooter than it was, or not shooter, excuse me, it was making you shoot faster than it actually was supposed to. Thanks for Biff. Biff was the one that found that out, but that's why it was doing so much damage. Makoa, Pluck. Reduce damage bonus 65% to 75%. Leviathan. No longer grants card control immunity. This will make sense in a second once you see the other changes. The increased damage bonus, I think it's a nice change considering his damage got nerfed. 650 to 550. I don't know the exact damage on that, but it's a nice change. You might have to run it if Makoa's gun doesn't feel that great, but I do think 550 still does a decent amount, but you might need that extra pluck damage to finish off kills. His cannon did need a nerf. I think this is an acceptable change. If they didn't give him the ammo count, like if this was 4 ammo for 550, I think his gun would be a lot worse. But the 5 ammo helps out. His gun needed a nerf, so I think this is respectable. It does hurt his damage output, but I think it's fine. Dredge Anchor cooldown increase, that's fair. Shell Shield extra health, or the health got nerfed to 3000, reduced cooldown to 15. It's not bad. This makes sense considering the record changes. What I do want to know is if you could run a half shell build, because half shell Barrier Reef reduced damage threshold to 2500. I was told that this was a typo, so this is supposed to be 1500. That would make sense. So then once your shield breaks fully, you get 10 seconds off your CD. If you run a Barrier Reef at 5 seconds, so then you get a 5-second CD on your shell shield, which I could see being really, really strong. Go for a half shell build, but if this is the actual number, I think half shell is dead. I think you're going Plucker or Leviathan again, like 100%, because 5 seconds off your shield is not worth running half shell. I still think you'd rather have the extra damage from Pluck, or you would just go Levy for the extra HP. Carapace, normal standard nerf on the shield health, like other tanks. Sea Legs, Dredge Anchor hits you for 100 health. I don't know if this is gonna be that great, considering whenever you go out for a hook, you're probably gonna be caught or full HP. But it is a fun little card you could use. It's a lot better than the lifesteal that it gave you before. 2 Tsunami, increased duration, reduced moon speed. So that's 30% for 3 seconds after using Shell Spin. I can see that being pretty good. I don't know if you're going to be able to get that in your deck for 5 points, but I'm probably going to play around with this, see if you can make it into your deck. Even at 4 points, I think would be pretty good. Just extra move speed's nice, especially with Rampage being nerfed, I think. Rampage, yes, reduced duration. So this might be a little better than Rampage. The extra movement speed might be nice. It might be nice to always know when you're going to get that move speed versus getting it whenever you get a kill or a limb. Rom, damage nerf. It's probably needed considering how tanky he was. He also got a damage reduction nerf to 15% instead of 25%. I think that's justified. He was impossible to kill with that much DR. But we'll have to keep an eye on Rom, see how he does. I think that damage nerf's pretty big. Same with the DR nerf. We'll have to see though, because he's still going to be pretty tanky if he gets the same amount of soul armor. Ruckus, Flux Generator, reduce health increase to 1250 to 1000. That makes sense. Rocket Barrage, you now hold up to 3 charges of missiles. Increase your missile launch's area effectiveness by 15 to 25 units. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't think this is good enough to make, like, yeah, it does. I don't know. It doesn't stand out to me. Like, I don't want to go Rocket Barrage to make my rockets bigger, but I do have to feel how the missiles feel now. Bitter got a 500 HP nerf. That's not terrible. I think it's still pretty good. It's going to be a lot better with the record changes. Missile launcher increased base capacity to 3, so now you can go aerial assault and have 3 missiles. The cooldown did get increased though, so running crystal capacitator at 5 gives you 3.5 seconds off for each missile, which makes it a 6.5 seconds for each missile, if I'm correct. I can't remember. Those numbers might be off. I don't even have Paladins open to look at them or remember correctly. I haven't played in 3 days, but I think this is a pretty good change. The damage is a little bit worse. Instead of 500, it's going to be 450. It's not bad. The 25% damage fall off at maximum range. That makes sense. You used to just fire missiles in there and always deal 500 damage. So I think this is a nice little change for him. It doesn't make him a little worse. You have to be a little more accurate with your missiles, but overall, not the worst thing in the world. The important thing to note about this is that you can go aerial assault plus have 3 missiles. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing. You could run proximity, which gives you 50% DR for 3 seconds, which is a better card than Metal March. I think you could do a fun build with HP, Metal March, and proximity to get double DR. Since the values are both pretty low, you won't get that bad of diminishing returns on it. But we'll have to see. Quick loader, still a pretty useless card. Reload speed, why do you need that on Ruckus? It's just, I don't know, pretty minuscule change. Terminus Terminus, Shadowfall, reduce cooldown 15 seconds to 12 seconds. That's a nice little change. You'll have your dash up more. You'll be more mobile. You can reposition yourself and put yourself in a better spot so people aren't shooting you from behind. Reanimate, reduce damage. Oh, geez, that's actually a pretty big nerf to his damage. I feel like this is kind of unneeded, but I don't know. Maybe 4,000 is too much. I don't know what they were thinking when they were changing this. If they thought it was just too strong or it was overperforming during the playtests. But I think maybe if you do this, you just make the reanimate come off a little faster, but we'll have to see. The important thing is that you get your life back. You know, the damage wasn't that important. It was more so that you got your full HP again. So we'll have to see how this feels. I overall just think it's a nerf, but not the worst thing in the world. Like I said, you still get your HP back. Increases power siphon charge gain by 2% to 3%. It was already a good card. I ran it at one point, but if you're against Inara or Barrack, which you probably are going to be against them since Arca Tectonicus is getting huge buffs, you can look to just swing and get charges off turrets, off walls. I think this is a nice change. I think probably going to want to run this if you're playing around point and you're against Barrack. 15% of your siphon is no joke. Siphon, sorry. Playing God, reduce healing 5% to 3%. It's not bad. I didn't think this card was that great, so now it's probably gonna be even worse. I don't think I'm ever gonna run this. It's just not that strong. You want to run other cards over it. It waits, increases shadow fall cooldown reduction to 0.2 to 0.3. That's not bad. Nice little change. You can get 1.5 seconds off of it. I don't know if I would run it though. There's just other cards you want to run. It follows. This is pretty interesting. So you get a total of 10% move speed per charge. So if you have 4 charges, that's 40% move speed, which is pretty nice. You need move speed on Terminus, so I could see doing a little fun build with max move speed to get around. Abomination's weird. I don't know what this means. Does this mean you're gonna get 3%, so a total of 15% for Calamity Blast? Like you get Siphon refunded at 15%. Or 15% per bolt. I don't know if that's how it's gonna work. It seems like the card was a little bugged. I have to go into PTS and actually look at what the card does, because there was 2 card texts. There was one that gave you extra siphon charge at 5% total per charge, and then the other one was saying that it gives you percentage to your Calamity Blast, so you get Calamity Blast faster back. But I'm not really sure how it works. I just need to go in game and actually read what the card is. It's a little confusing. But if this is siphon charge rate per hit with Calamity Blast, this is nuts. I think Term will be really, really good because of this. Devastation buff to Term. I was running this card at 3 points, so now it's even better. That's great. Term's going to be in a good spot, I think, next patch. Gain 10% siphon charge for each enemy hit with Shatterfall. Jeez. I could see that being pretty good as well. You could get like 30. You could run this at 1 point, 2 points, and that's 10% siphon charge. So pretty good. I think Term's got a lot of good cards that give him siphon sustain. So we'll have to see how he feels. I think it's overall he's going to be a better spot than he was last patch, even with reanimate nerf. Torvald. Torvald's got kind of interesting changes. Thanks Grandpa, extra health. That's not bad. Field study, reduced damage increased to 10%. I guess they nerfed it even more. It wasn't. I guess it was kind of annoying last patch, but I do think it was, still pretty weak. Nullify's range is double. I would have liked to see this deal the extra damage while also keeping the range. That would have been pretty cool. Don't know if this is that great though. The extra range it's meh. I don't think it does enough for a talent for you to run in. I think you're going to be running Thanks Grandpa or Field Study. The damage increase, even though it's 10%, it's still damage increase. Like that still helps. Especially since you pocket damage dealers, that 10% just helps them deal more damage. It's nice. I think you run this or Thanks Grandpa. Protection, increased duration to 4 seconds, reduce shield health to 1,000. So if you run Thanks Grandpa, that's 1,500 shield. And reduce cooldown to 8 seconds to 6 seconds. So somehow they made Torv you click shield more often now than last patch. So I don't know how I really feel about this. I wish they would have taken him in a direction where he's not around his shield as much, and they just didn't really do that considering 2 of his talents around shield. Which kind of sucks. But you kind of just have to deal with it. Nullify, reduce duration to 2 seconds, reduce range units, that's fine. Nullify is still going to be a good ability. It's the only one of the few silences in the game, excluding the new Shaolin change. Recharge, reduce cooldown rate, and increase shield generation. That's nice. His shield generation is going to be a lot better considering the record changes. Hyper Beam, little change. Don't know how much this affects him, but his ult's going to do a little more damage, but nobody really cared about the damage. The main focus was pushing people off the map. A few of his cards are good. I think Life Giver is going to be nice. Heal your target at 475. So at max rank, I could see this being pretty good, especially if you're pocketing a damage and they need that extra healing. That's going to be pretty insane. Grant 2 ammo to your protection target. This is really interesting. I might run this. I'm probably going to run this as a 1 or 2 pointer. Wait, reduce cooldown protection of 0. Oh, so this makes sense. They got rid of the cooldown reduction, but instead they buffed the base CDR. That makes much more sense now. I guess that opens up your loadout to other cards. You could probably gonna run speed at max points. You can run Life Giver at 5 points, 4 points, Time Shaver at 1 or 2. So I could see this being really good. It's just a different Tor playstyle. I don't know how good it's gonna be, but you're probably going, like I said, Think Grandpa, Field Study, and a bunch of those cards. Time Shaper, Life Giver. You want these in your deck. Vital Grasp, not that great. I don't know if it's gonna be good. Those healing cards, never that great unless they have, giving you that extra healing for every second for 4 seconds. That's how I think you make that card better. And that's pretty much all the tank changes. That was an extremely long video. It's 45 minutes. I've just been talking and rambling. But I hope you guys enjoyed the vid, and tell me what you guys think about the patch. I'm really excited to get on PTS and try out a bunch of these changes. I hope you guys are too, but let me know how you guys feel about the patch, what you guys are thinking. If I missed anything that you guys thought I should have covered, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.